Welcome back to In the Spotlight. This is our final segment, and boy, here you go. Headline: Lori Lightfoot claims racism and sexism is driving about 99% of the criticism over Chicago crime wave. Well, let's just review that Chicago crime wave. I mean, it's absolutely alarming. Again, 79 shot and killed just in June, 494 total shot year to date, 332 shot and killed year to date. Total shot year to date, 6 months in the year, 1,948. Now, the crime actually, it hurts black people. And she is not being serious about this. She wants to blame everything, the criticism of her on racism and sexism. She has a crime problem. She has a financial problem. She has all sorts of problems. But back to the
She's
top
also
of it.
criticized across the boards by black people, white people, Hispanic people, and women. So
That's right. And
don't know if you can attribute all of it to.
Her own black alder women.
Right.
Alder persons.
A very heated discussion on the floor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Black alder. It's person, right? We can't
Alder
say
person.
man or woman anymore. I think there was an executive order by J.B. Pritzker on that.
There was.
Yeah. I mean, this is all a joke, right?
Right.
It's all like an identity politics, including her self-identifying as all the criticism towards her is racist and sexist. But remember, she identified herself.
Right.
She identified herself as the triple threat. Those are her words. I'm the triple threat.
Yep.
Because she's black, a woman, and gay.
Well, look, right.
I mean, what?
Yes. So now she
used that as a benefit to get elected. But now if anybody is to criticize her at all for her performance, it's because she's black and a woman.
Right.
Well, I mean, this was an interesting clip from Phil Ponce's interview with Lori Lightfoot, and we say this as we're not fans of WTTW or Phil.
Not at all.
Frankly.
We can talk about that later.
We can talk about that later. But yeah, take a listen to this clip.
Mayor, in recent months, there have been questions raised about your temperament and your reaction to criticism. Tribune editorial used the term irascible. How much of this do you think might have to do with the fact that you're a woman, and specifically a black woman?
About 99% of it.
And she says it in all seriousness. Look, I mean, they're actually they're treating you like a Republican is the thing. I mean, the criticism comes with the territory. And so, I don't want to be dismissive of the fact that there may be some sexist or whatever. But if you look at her record, she has really opened herself up to a lot of criticism. The turnover rate in her administration has been high during both years in office. 12 staff members have resigned or stated their intention to leave since late last year, according to the Chicago Tribune. Lightfoot's current and former advisors claim the mayor is difficult to approach and does not listen to advice. Last May, she emailed 3 advisors photos of her documents she had destroyed.
Right.
In January, emailed their scheduler complaining, with the repeating doesn't get enough office time. In the email, aggressively repeats many sentences. That one was 16 times, but then there were several others. She's gotten into fights with city officials, including right on the floor with City Hall alderman. Don't come to me for once. Well, she told aldermen if they voted against her budget, don't come to me for. And she issued a proclamation that she's only going to grant interviews. Issued a proclamation only going to grant interviews to black and brown reporters.
She
opened herself up to criticism,
but she makes herself out to be this really tough persona, this really tough, federal prosecutor. I've fought my way to the top. I can handle any challenge, and then she immediately, when she's criticized on performance, and it could not be worse, honestly, under her. Well, I mean.
Well, she has to blame it on something.
Well, you had Tiny Dancer before, Rahm Emanuel. I mean, you have a whole history of these mayors who cannot get anything done.
Right.
But in her case, she's absolutely went straight to, you don't like me because I'm black and I'm a woman. Now, I don't know, but when I was thinking about this.
The solution to every problem, or the cause of every problem, according to her, is racism or sexism. So she's not even taking problem solving seriously. She's not even looking at the issues the city has in a serious way. Or in a way that would allow you to identify a policy remedy. She's just not.
No, everything is through the lens of race with her. Absolutely everything. And I don't get that same sense from Toni Preckwinkle, quite frankly. I mean, and she's a black woman, but I don't see her reacting in a similar way.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, no, she's right.
Kim Fox is incompetent, but I don't remember her, getting so testy about it and then blaming it on racism and sexism.
Right.
But she's.
It's an interesting point about Toni Preckwinkle because she was considered the machine politician, and maybe there is some you're from outside the machine, so there is some coordinated attacks on that. If there's some reason outside of her policies and her performance and her
Right.
demeanor and she's various idiosyncrasies, maybe they're attacking her because she's a political opponent in that way for the Democrat machine.
I think she just rubs people wrong. I mean,
totally
she's not been
do.
able to get her agenda done in Springfield. She wasn't able to get. She wanted to block the elected school board. And, there's a lot. Chris Welch is a black Democrat in charge of the House. He could have
Right.
stopped it. He could have changed it. The Black Caucus did not come to defend her.
Right.
Are they all
No,
racist?
I mean, I think her record has made her political influence, has really decreased the influence that she has. It's really hurt her.
It's just
She doesn't
really,
have a lot of pull anywhere.
It's really interesting, though, for somebody who made herself out to be just this tough individual, competent individual.
That's why.
And then now she just completely has fallen apart.
Well, that's why voters, you shouldn't elect people based on their identities and, who they identify as, and all of that should be a secondary, tertiary consideration. What
you
are
make
their
yourself-
policies?
Right.
What is their diagnosis of the problems that you're facing? And you're facing some pretty significant problems in Chicago.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, really, the interesting thing is that she self-identified that way,
Yeah.
and that should tip you off right away
And
that she's not serious.
And he
about
doesn't point that
policy.
out to her.
No,
And this is, I mean,
they're so weak. The Chicago media is so weak.
yes.
Although there's times the editorial board of the Chicago Tribune and even Crane's is fair.
Yes, but yes,
that's about
there
it.
Are, and
there are a few exceptions.
There are old
wanna
school reporters like Craig Dellamore who are fair reporters. But Chicago
Phil
Tonight does not have any of them. They
Not at all. No pushback on this.
no pushback whatsoever. And then at the end, I don't know if you watched the whole interview. She pulls out a cardboard cutout of her own Phil Ponce because he's moving on. Chicago Tonight, let's be honest, they're really in the tank for Democrats. And so, like in your race, Sean Casten walks in and he had voted for this spending bill, this budget that Trump signed off on, and it's way out of balance. And we said that it was one of the points that you criticized and Trump on was this budget, and you criticized Sean Casten on it too. But he goes, he sits there and goes, oh yeah, it's terrible. It's so far out of whack. It's just awful. And Paris Schultz, I think, was the host, and
Paris
Schutz. Okay, doesn't even go. Then why did you vote for it, Sean?
No.
But then when you're on,
complete attack on me.
total three times about an ad that you did in a different race that had no bearing on this race, that wasn't, brought up issues that weren't issues in this race.
So here's the kicker, though, because you got people, if you're listening to this podcast, please understand. Chicago media personalities, for the most part, are that. They're personalities. They don't know policy and they don't know even other people's votes. They're interviewing people and, oh, what a joke. I'm looking at it now. She's got this cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
Okay. But, I mean, so in that case, after Paris was completely unfair between the two interviews with Sean Casten and myself, I called him up.
Yeah.
I said, I can't believe your slanted sideways attack on me and not even telling the whole story. And then you give Sean Casten a pass. He sits there and complains about the unbalanced budget when he voted for it.
And you don't even ask him.
And
You don't bother to look up whether a congressman voted on a bill you're going to be talking to him about.
Do you know? Yeah. You know what he said? Oh, I didn't know he voted for it. Are you freaking nuts?
Unacceptable. Paris.
They're crazy.
No
pushback on any.
No
of this
pushback
ever.
on that.
The media no wonder the media is not trusted.
Right. Well, so this is right. A new survey is out from Reuters and Oxford. Let me see. It's the Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism at Oxford interviewed 29,000 people in 46 countries for its 10th annual digital news report, and it confirms that Americans have the lowest trusted media. There's a 15% trust gap, which is a lower level of trust in the media than any of the other 45 nations surveyed, and the Associated Press turned that on their readers, and they blamed them, saying, the trouble is that not all Americans universally embrace core journalism values. All right. Or the problem is that not all American media outlets universally embrace core journalism values, like, truth, objectivity, fairness, so
Know your facts.
Know your facts. Like, that's why,
Have some background in what you're questioning these people about.
The New York Times coverage of the Steele dossier, the kid from Covington Catholic. I mean, the list goes on. The lab leak theory. That was I mean, major stuff that they lied about. I mean, so
Hunter Biden's laptop, which
Hunter Biden's
totally
laptop.
turned I think the tenor of the election right there. Could have turned it one way or the other, and they
just ignored
the
it.
media ignored
the
it,
double
and then they blocked it.
standards, the lies, the
terrible.
selective amplification.
Yep, yep. So it's no wonder they're not trusted. That's why you need to listen to our podcast.
That's right. We
Get
will
the
tell
straight
you
scoop.
what's up.
And so we're thrilled about that too. We're thrilled that AM 560 is a partner with us. We're thrilled that AM 560 has us on their podcast list. And where else, Kathleen, can people tune into our podcast?
On Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Libsyn. And we also post it on all our social media sites.
Terrific. Great. See you next time.